Well, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Michael with M&M Model Railways. In this video, we're going to be talking about sealing the hayfield that I've been working on. What does it mean to seal your foam to progress in your layout? Well, when we seal something, we seal it, number one, for water resin to go into the ditches. It has to have a certain amount of sealant on there. And I don't specifically like just painting my foam board. I like to put Scuptamold over it to give it some texture. So to seal it, what I do is I add plaster cloth over the irrigation ditches because, as you know, in the ditches we're going to be adding some water resin in there. And then I like to go back over it with some Scuptamold to add the texture. So both of those substances, they create a sealing area to seal the surface for, first of all, the water resin, and number two, the paint. What I'm trying to duplicate in this video, as you can see, if I slide this over, I'm trying to put a hayfield in there, and you can see that there's an irrigation ditch there. So I'm trying to represent that. So what you'll see in this video, I'll be sharing some other little pictures of what I'm trying to do in this video. And I think you will be benefiting from that as you think about maybe building an irrigation system on your model layout that is pretty realistic compared to what real life is like. That's what modeling, model railroad is about. It's about modeling or showing something that looks real on your layout. And that's why I chose to do a professional, more mature layout than something that's kind of childish. You that do model railroading, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's check out this video right now, and let's go to the living room and we'll get started. Let's put some plaster cloth down. As you can tell, I got my little cup of water. Got some plaster cloth cut into some strips. I'm going to mute the sound and put some music on. Now what I'm going to do is cover up my hayfield. And I'm going to work from the bottom of the hayfield down. Work it back up to the top. Get all those air bubbles out of there. This will help create a texture for the ground cover to go over the top of it. One side's the marrow pit, the other side's the irrigation ditch. That brings the water down here, and at the top part of it is the tube irrigation ditch that will supply the water. This is down a little bit. Try to use a bigger container next time, since I'm getting in a hurry with it. That'll help build the texture as well of the hayfield. I'll mix some Scuptamold and slope it down, because we won't bring the alfalfa grass or the prairie grass all the way up to the irrigation ditch. I think that's would be the correct way to do that. And I'll make a couple of cuts out of this. Fill in those pink areas. Put one right there. Looking good. Right there. Just a little dab. Got a spot showing there. There we go. Getting that little part covered up. Painting this the yellow color, not the yellow color, but the color of my ground cover. Use a little bit of this to cover up some holes that I have here. Use my brush to get those bubbles out of there. I'm gonna cover it all up. Water with a brush, never hurt nothing. I think we can cut a little piece and put it over this piece of culvert right here. Come on, camera. Double this up a little bit here. I want to cover up most of this little piece of pipe. To make that look like it's going underneath that road area. I just want just barely a tip of it showing through. Build it up here a little bit. I think that looks pretty good. I'll use some Scuptamold. Some air. Little reverse of the camera. I got it pretty good. When that dries, I'll mix up some Scuptamold and do some forming with it. And this should be ready to put our little switch in there and finish that track. And I'll finish that little piece right there. The wire's being hidden down there. But anyway, I think that's going to look like a hayfield when I'm all done with it. Mixed up some of my Scuptamold. What I want to do is work on this ditch a little bit. This is the irrigation area that tubes will be coming over this. So I want this to kind of make a little bit of a bank right here, down to nothing. So I'm using the Scuptamold to try to duplicate that. Put a picture on the screen here that kind of gives the idea of what I'm after. So you can see that the greenery does not go all the way to this irrigation area. And then you'll see some irrigation tubes. I'm going to try to figure out a way to duplicate that as well. So establish a little lip here that will be painted concrete color, as well as that ditch. And I think I'll try to slope that down as it gets built into there. And now I got some areas that I want to level across here. this area to look like dirt. This is going to be underneath the road structure. So it looks like culvert going underneath the road there. Got to level this area right here. I did have the track going all the way through there. The ditch, as you know, went all the way through that area. But there's no sense in it going all the way through there now, because there's a road here, there's a switch crossing over here, and this will be part of a field or something over here, but I want to smooth this out so it doesn't look like there used to be a ditch there. Move the camera a little bit so you can see what I'm trying to work on here now. This is the head gate that releases the water out to the stream over here. So that this area I'm working on is actually underneath the ground, because there's going to be stuff setting over it, but I don't want to actually get rid of this surface through here, as you can tell. That's another crack gap right there. It's like filling in voids. That ought to look pretty good when it's all done, and then we'll be building some more of the Scuptamold up in that area. I'm going to work this ditch here a little bit. As you can tell, I have this side of this ditch that I need to work on. All right. Let's work this bank right here a little bit, try to level this out. I'll be dumping, pouring, I always say dump, but pouring water resin in this area. I'm going to get some murky water coloring for the water that's going to be in here. I know the river is blue, but that's reflecting the sky. This is a little bit of a small area. So when we get around to that point, you'll see that happening in videos as well. Just use this tool that I have for my paint. It's a little applicator tool. You can spread paint and also work the paint with it as well. I like to put a fence inside this area here, a barbed wire fence, and then we'll also be putting a barbed wire fence on the other side of the road around the cattle operation that we're going to have back there. I think that's starting to take shape a lot better than it did anyway. I'm just going to use up the rest of the Scuptamold and try to blend it in this Hayfield area. Move it around and fill in some stuff. Can go pretty thin, I think. It's the texture that I'm after more than anything else. I'm also going to work that borrow pit a little bit too. I'll mix up the rest of my batch and hopefully be able to finish this area out. To order some more of this stuff pretty quick. Fill in all them voids, and then I'm going to go back over it and do some spreading. Let me mix up the rest of my Scuptamold and let's work this borrow pit so it looks more like a U-shaped pit instead of an irrigation ditch. Let me mix some up. I'll be right back. Okay, I got the last of my 3-pound bag that I got. Mix this up kind of wet. So I'm just going to fill some of this in here. And then I'm going to take my finger and try to make it not so deep, but make it look more like a shallow borrow pit. And then I'll go back with my edge piece and then try to build that up a little bit and blend that out into my field. So I'm trying to make that so it doesn't look so deep. Put this down a little bit into the hayfield. Not too worried about how the stuff's going to look in there. Just trying to make it look like a borrow pit. Try to move you so you can see that better. Borrow pit. When I mix my road stuff up, I'll mix up some more of it so it slopes off of the road. That's basically what I'm trying to accomplish there. I think we'll put some of this in this area as well. Putting some of the other stuff up here at the top. If I can blend all of this in, then we'll have that texture coming up here, see? We're going to put a pasture back up in this area. Eventually we want to cover up all of that ground area. Once we get all the track put in there, it'll be better to see what we're doing here. All right, now I'm going to use my fingers, try to use my, got a tool here that I got when I got the paving road stuff. Let's try to use that in here. Move it around a little bit once it starts setting up. Get a little bit more of a flatter consistency. I don't mind that so much because if you look in a hayfield that's kind of not level everywhere, either is the pastures. It sets up a little bit. You can use your fingers, smooth it out a little bit more. I want it to look like it's dirt texture underneath my paint. That's kind of what I'm trying to accomplish there. All right. I think I got an idea here. Hold on. In that picture, you're seeing some lines coming off of our ditch here. It looks like the water from the irrigation tubes is running out into the field. If we have some of that underneath the structure of our grass, it'll look like it's being flood irrigated as we work through here. I think that'll give it a pretty good texture run. Looks like they poured water over that. Scrape off this top a little bit here. Gonna paint that so it looks like it's a concrete bank edge there. That'll look pretty good. Let's work on this area just a little bit more. It starts to set up. We can take some water, smooth it out a little bit too. I'll give you a overhead view when I get it done when I'm happy with it. I've got a little water in my container, so then you can take and make it look like it's dirt texture and feather your edges out. and it gives it a bit of a roughness that you would normally have on a flat surface. So the Scuptamold is pretty good at doing that. Then we got to get a couple buildings in there, and then we'll do some more of this ground sculpturing with our Scuptamold. This is basically the pasture area that we'll be making some areas there that'll look pretty cool. There's a flyover, what it looks like. This will be painted the ground color, and then it goes to underneath to an underground culvert. As you can see right there, there is a culvert pipe. And this is the irrigation ditch that will irrigate the field. And this is the borrow pit that will let it out. There it is. See that through there. Right, there's the ground cover for this side of the pasture. As you can tell, we've already done some of that there. It gives it a really nice texture. And that piece of paper there is the blueprints to the kettle operation. Hopefully in a couple months we'll have that installed, and that template will be a barn, a sail barn. Then we'll have the crows, and we'll have a little pasture. We got to have parking spaces and place for trucks to back up, stuff like that. This area here will have a road that comes through there. Then there will be a road that comes off of this crossing. The road will cross the tracks right there, and then we'll be doing something with that tunnel area back there. So that's a wrap on plaster cloth, and I think that field is looking pretty good. We'll paint it and give it some details here in another video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to it.